Hello everybody. Well, so I'm doing this thing of this YouTube video, and I have seen interesting in this mag that for a matter of fact that they supposed to be on a survey in a page of Japan Today in Facebook. Then they will need 20 million tourists to come to Japan. Well, what is the interesting in that other countries would do and then promoting tourists there or anything? The problem is like you have like, for example, to imagine to go to visas or anything, the NFL or sports franchise. England, the UK did so well promoting football games, American football that is, to be played in London, England, in Wimbledon, over there. So it was good enough for the UK to do this. You know, I see Dolphins were playing in England against, I think, the Patriots or the Jets. I don't know, but yeah, there was this regular season football games playing in England. So the NBA, sometimes they go play in France, sometimes they go play in Germany or Rio. But in a way, these kinds of events, in the Major League Baseball, for example, have been played a lot in Japan, sometimes but I don't know, in the regular season. That would be a best bet. Besides, the only Asian baseball players that use steroids are mostly Korean or PEDs. You know, Japanese are clean, believe it or not. Don't believe all the BS about this minor league Met player get suspended for steroids. That's BS. So, for example, would it be is this. As so many people wants to go to Japan or whatever, there's simple things that that country needs to do. First of all, make Spanish a secondary official secondary language. Of course, that has to be approved by their government. And now here in the USA, with the thing with the immigration reform and all that, what if this thing is that these people getting reject their visas? Well, if those things could happen, people coming from Central America, you know, mostly Latin America, they could come and they get their visas rejected. These people, when I mean even the Japanese government that understands English, or people wanting the right to the Japanese government, is this. Whenever they get rejected a visa to come here in the United States, they could go back to their back to their Latin American countries, people given brochures, you know, people working in the Japanese government to sign in for free tickets to go to Japan. That way, they sign their family members or who else they get rejected, that type of thing. That once they return in their Latin American countries, probably probably in Portuguese, but most likely in Spanish, that these people could sign these special waivers, these special, you know, things that if they are rejected to work in the United States and their visas are not approval, then these people could, you know, like, for example, this person comes from Mexico and then he comes to the United States and then he got rejected. His visa is not approved. Then he goes back to Mexico. Then somebody gave on a pamphlet, a brochure, like, if they're rejected to have a better life and they wanted to go to Japan, he could sign this brochure. He signed his family member. Let's see, a family of 4. They could take the family of 4 They give him free tickets to go to Japan with a visa and this permission of why he got rejected to go to the United States. So he hops on a plane from Mexico City to Tokyo, you know, or any city in Japan where they try to do that. That is the number one thing that they should do, is to give out free brochures for free tickets to go to Japan for those from these Latin American countries that got rejected for their visas to enter the United States. That's one simple thing for to keep Japan's population, to prevent the decrease in population in Japan of old age, and bring some more people from Latin America, especially those will be a plus if they're from Japanese descent. Let's say somebody from Peru got rejected and he's from Japanese descent, then that way that's a plus. That means there has to be a sign. If you're a Japanese descent, you'll have like special privileges. You know, somebody who has Japanese descent born in Latin America have special privileges because he's considered to be a citizen automatically from over there. That's just one of the case may be. Other than that that's the first thing they have to do. Make Spanish the secondary official languages. El español tiene que ser oficial en Japón para ir a Japón y dar folletos para ir gratis, y si están rechazados de entrar a los Estados Unidos. That's one thing. If I heard of them, these people from Spanish-speaking countries will say that this thing about the free tickets and easy to enter visas, so for those people that are rejected from those Latin American countries, sign their brochures to enter Japan. And for the tourism industry, or whatever it is, the NFL and the NBA would be example of for next year to have this special thing of these events to be held. Represented to Japanese companies, devalue Hyundai for recalls and tell that Hyundai has so many recalls and is lower safety standards, whatever, done by Japanese companies, to do these football games or baseball games and stuff. That way also to promote, these games, these regular season games once at a Japanese town, as at a Japanese city. For example, let's start with one thing. First thing, like the UK has done with the NFL and Canada has to do, but yeah, especially the UK and Europe, the United Kingdom, promoting games like that, it would be better off starting with the Miami Dolphins, and the Miami Heat to start these regular season games once a year. That it is a promise that if these Abenomics would go all the way down, that's another one thing. Make Japan as a tax as a tax haven. That means that there have to be lower taxes in Japan compared to the United States. So that means that if this guy, Mickey Harrison, could have decided, the taxes are lower in Japan than in the United States because the Abenomics, start Carnival Airlines, and call and change the American Airlines Arena to Delta Arena. You know what I'm going through there, Delta Arena, because Delta and Carnival Airlines will be belong to the same company, SkyTeam. Put it that way. It makes kind of perfect sense. And whatever it is if this thing of the Miami Dolphins playing in Fukuoka, Japan, and then the X League that I saw on the internet. Yeah, it's just to say that, okay, this is American football being played in Japan and stuff. Here we go again, that bringing out the once again a Dolphins game. And I mean, this is called the Fukuoka series. And the Miami Heat playing once in Japan in the same town where the Miami Dolphins play once, just once a year in regular season game in Japan. And probably the NFL will have, the Dallas Cowboys will face the New York Jets in Tokyo once a year. NBA games once a year. Regular season games played in Japan. Let's say the Chicago Bulls versus the New York Knicks in Tokyo, and the next day you have the Los Angeles Lakers versus the Oklahoma City Thunder in Kobe. Well, it makes sense. Kobe is in Kobe playing. Yeah, it makes kind of sense, but it is pretty ridiculous that once a year these things, and even Major League Baseball playing once a year in a regular season game in Japan. This would be the final answer to all these things, plus Spanish as the secondary official language in Japan, and free brochures for those Spanish-speaking countries, especially in Latin America. That those people that are rejected for their visas to the United States, once they get kicked out and return back to their country of origin, you get a free brochure that they sign up for a visa. They get a visa, and these visas, it is that wherever how many families go, that they'll have free tickets to go to Japan, or a direct ticket to Japan, straight from their Latin American countries, that because they got their visas rejected to enter the United States, could work, of all things, everything before 2020, because the Olympics is going to be held there in Tokyo. So that's how it is, and that's how I think that this kind of a method of what I'm saying is the best option out there. I think it's the best option out there because, I wanted to go, even though, yeah, I'm doing this, I'm doing YouTube, I will have AdSense, could be advertising something, but, but one thing that I wanted to plan to do something about the Miami Tower on July 1st, 2015 as possible, because I need 1,000 subscribers for that YouTube partner. I need that kind of thing, but also that I need you to support all this in regards to, first of all, a commercial. That things needs to be changing, even though the immigration status of people from Latin America willing to come here, if there's any possibility to get rejected and they get their visas rejected, and that stupid lottery that they always had a long time ago, that these people, with the lottery, you are able to have earned a visa or not. Then once they get rejected, if that things happen, these people come to their Latin American country, have a free brochure in Spanish, so they could sign in, get free direct tickets to Japan. And just because they got rejected in the United States for their visa, and work there. and have Spanish as the official secondary language in Japan. That's what it is. That's just to, stop the population from decreasing, and all this special privilege for people born in Latin America of Japanese descent. But I think this would be all these options, and also for tourism, for their economy to postpone that, like the NFL games and NBA games, plays regular season games, play once a year in Japan. That the UK has done it, is that, well, for all this, and I'm saying thank you for this, thank you for seeing my video, and I'll bet that one of these days that whatever they have visas to free, whenever they fixed everything, that these things, like fixing visas for people that are rejected to come to enter the United States, so they could have brochures to go to Japan, free tickets to go directly to Japan, and stop the population decreasing. And by 2020, you have more than 20 million people visiting Japan because of these things, and the NBA games, once a year games, and NFL once a year games, that I think England should do better. I think out of the NFL should do games once a year in Japan. Regular season games, starting with the Miami Dolphins, starting with that. NBA has to start with the Miami Heat playing at the same town. Different Japanese cities for these regular season games, especially for the Dolphins and the X League. That means that I have the interest for that, and to have Japan as a safe haven for corporate tax with the Abenomics. And then I think you should, go for Abby for the Abenomics thing, because I think it's really awesome, and I think things like that could change. So, goodbye, everybody. Peace out.